A leather hat sitting on a metal wheel, a rigid grip changing what the drivers feel. We took a turn rolling on an autumn road, a stiff defense carrying heavy load. It caught the palm, leaving an uneven trace, a stubborn form waiting in a quiet space. But passing miles softened up the rigid skin, a steady hold letting all the comfort in. The fabric bends, taking on a human heat. The friction dies, leaving just a quiet glide, a warm embrace, holding on the dark inside. I steer the wheel, feeling how the leather warms, a safe anchor weathering the quiet storms. The rubbing stops, turning to a gentle flow, a woven piece showing where the journeys go. The leather adapts, finding a familiar grace, steady steer, taking up a quiet space. Molded leather steering grip, resting in a given hand. I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone. A warm surface, waiting for a quiet dawn. You shape yourself, fit into the path I hold. A warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. Molded leather steering grip, resting in a given hand. I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone. A warm surface, waiting for a quiet dawn. You shake yourself, the path I hold. A warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. We used to ache, pushing on a rigid line, a stubborn form acting as a cold design. The steady touch polished up the heavy shell, a quiet shift breaking up the isolation spell. The motion flows, traveling a private lane. I close my eyes, feeling how the edges bend, a trusted guard staying with me to the end. Rub the solid high, let the rhythm play, high from all the rush, keep the cold away. The outer edge softens into something mild, a peaceful state letting us be reconciled. I realize that comfort isn't earned art, a slow design working on a guarded heart. Love requires polishing a rugged face, to find a warmth hiding in a quiet place. We let the shape alter to a gentle fit, and found a piece hidden in the core of it. I need the touch flowing through the softened ring, a custom frequency making the silence sing. Molded leather steering grip, keep it near in a given hand. I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone. A warm surface, waiting for a quiet dawn. You shape yourself, fitting to the path I hold. A warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. The height is smooth, the path is warm. We are safe.
Yellow wax, resting in a quiet jar, a simple shield keeping all the static far. We pressed it in, looking for a quiet room, a stiff defense, saving us from rising gloom. I fought the ear, leaving an uneven seal, a rigid block hiding what the listeners feel. But waking heat softened up the heavy core, a steady press acting as a closing door. The center yields taking on a human shape, a custom fit offering a safe escape. The noise departs, fade into a silent hum, a quiet calm beating like a gentle drum. I close my eyes, feeling how the beeswax warms the quiet shield, weathering the waking storms. The static stops, turning to an even glide, a woven piece living on the dark inside. The beeswax adapts, finding a familiar grace, a steady seal taking up a quiet space. I hold you close, know that the noise is gone. A warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. You shaped yourself, fit into the calm. I hold a warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. Pieces lock, a stubborn jam hitting on a solid rock, but steady hands polished up the rigid skin. A quiet vow washing out the early pain. The vessel shines, holding to a sweet perfume. I turn it slow, feeling how the pieces mesh, a woven bond resting on the living flesh. Feel the yellow wax, smell the quiet trace, step into the calm, rest the weary face. The harsh resistance melted into something mild, a peaceful state, letting us be reconciled. I realized that fiction was a passing phase, a simple test, hiding in the early days. Love requires softening the rugged grain to find the peace hiding in the falling rain. We let the years wear away the rigid shell and found a place where the quiet angels dwell. I hold the grip knowing it will never stick, a tailored bond matching up without a trick. Soften beeswax, Earplug, let it slide, let it slide. Sit low, press it down. I hold you close, knowing that the noise is gone. Oh, warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. You shaped yourself, fit into the calm. I hold a warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. The wax is soft. The room is quiet. We are safe.
A metal knob sitting on a heavy pipe, a quiet room waiting for a winter white. We turn the wheel hoping for a rising heat, a firm defense facing an outside street. It held the steam, keeping out a bit of frost, a fragile piece, saving what was almost lost. But hidden damp settled on the turning gear, a tragic rust waking up a silent fear. The cylinder binds freezing in the heavy crust, a solid block turning to a bit of dust. The turning stops, leaving an unfinished turn, a silent drop watching all the embers burn. I try to twist, holding an uneven dial, a futile act begging for a quick denial. The entrance chokes, freezing in a solid block, a broken door ticking on a silent clock. The iron binds drop into a frozen state, a silent end closing up an iron gate. Rusted radiator valve catching on a broken gear, a tragic stop blazing up a silent fear. Strike the pipe looking at a heavy stain, a physical reflection of a lasting pain. You cannot start heating when the valve is tied. I stare at the disaster where the hope has died. Rusted radiator valve catching on a broken gear, a tragic stop blazing up a silent fear. I strike the pipe looking at a heavy stain, a physical reflection of a lasting pain. You cannot start heating when the valve are given right. A steady stream pushing through the lonely night, but solid crust paralyzed a working gait. A tragic act halting at a bit of fate. The heat has stopped drowning in a rigid chill. A ruined slide hiding what we truly feel. I try to pull, hoping for a working space. The bitter end hiding in a quiet place. Just a rusted pipe, hear the metal grind. Feel to move the heat, feel to leave behind. The tangle is a poison to a moving stream. A silent ghost cursing what is coming next. I realize that pushing on a broken frame is wasting all the logic of a waiting game. Love requires turning with a smooth release to navigate the moving of a sudden peace. We jammed the valve, breaking an essential tie, and ruined all the function of a shared sky. I lift my cold fingers and I step away, accepting the disaster of a broken play. Rusted radiator valve, catching on a broken gear. Let it jam, walk away. I strike the pipe, looking at a heavy stain. Physical reflection of a lasting pain. You cannot start heating when the valve is tied. I leave the dark silence where the hope has died. The nerve is caught, the room is cold. I am done. A silver coil, a silver coil, winding in a metal case. A ticking heart acting in a quiet space. We turn the key, asking for a steady pace. A firm defense holding in assumed grace. It bore the strain, pushing out a moving hand. A quiet core, working on a waiting land. But heavy turns pushed upon a fragile line. A tragic move ruining a calm design. The metal yield snapped into a breaking point. A tragic pop severing the central joint. The motion stops, dying in a heavy shock. A broken line falling on a silent clock. I try to wind, holding an uneven gear. A futile act, waking up a silent fear. The ticking fails, lacking an essential guide. A hollow space, open in a vast divide. The metal snaps, drop into a silent state. A broken clock, closing up an iron gate. Snap clockwork spring, failing on the metal frame. I watch the dial freezing in the bitter wind. A physical reflection of the lies we sin. It cannot keep ticking with a broken core. I stare at the disaster on the wooden floor. In the bitter wind, a physical reflection of the lies we sin. You cannot keep ticking with a broken core. I stare at the disaster on the wooden floor. We acted like turning was an endless gift. The lasting force hiding in a quiet shift. A sudden shocks compromise an entire base. A sudden fall sitting in a quiet place. The lines divide, slipping from a tension hold. A broken tool shivering in winter cold. I try to turn, hoping for a steady ring. A bitter end written on a lifeless string. Touch the broken coil, hear the metal snap. Watch the seconds fall, close the empty trap. By tension is a poison to a gentle heart. I realize that resting on a fragile thread is wasting all the logic of the words we said. Love requires holding to a balanced tie to elevate the nature of a shared sky. We snap the coil, pushing past the limit sign, and ruined all the function of a shared design. I drop my cold fingers and I step away, accepting the disaster of a broken place. Snap clockwork spring, a tragic end, opening a silent game. I watch the dial freezing in the bitter wind. The physical reflection of the lies we sin. Cannot keep ticking with a broken core. I leave the slack hanging on a broken day. A rigid cork resting on a carbon pole, a silent guard waiting for a quiet soul. We held it tight looking at a moving stream. It caught the skin leaving an uneven mark, a stubborn form sitting in the early dark. But passing days softened up the heavy wood, a steady hold doing what the patience could. The surface bends taking on a human heat, a subtle curve moving to a mellow beat. The friction dies leaving just a quiet glide, a warm embrace holding on the dark inside. I grip the rod feeling how the handle warms, a safe anchor weathering the quiet storms. The catching stops turn into an even flow. Oh, the timber adapts, finding a familiar grace, taking up a quiet space. Multi-cork fishing grip, resting in a given hand. I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone. A warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. You shaped yourself, fit into the line. I hold a warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. Multi-cork fishing grip, resting in a given hand. I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone. A warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. You shaped yourself, fitting to the line. I hold a warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. Yeah. We used to ache, pushing on a rigid wall, a stubborn line waiting for a heavy fall. But steady touch polished up the solid shell, a quiet shift breaking up the isolation spell. The motion flows, traveling a private lane. I close my eyes, feeling how the edges bend, a trusted guard staying with me to the end. Hold the solid cork, let the rhythm play. Hide from all the rush, keep the cold away. The outer edge softens into something mild, a peaceful state, letting us be reconciled. I realize the waiting is an earned art, a slow design working on a guarded heart. Love requires polishing a rugged face to find the warmth hiding in a quiet place. We let the shape alter to a gentle fit and found the peace hidden in the core of it. I need the touch flowing through the softened ring, a custom frequency making the silence sing. Multi-cork fishing grip, keeping here, resting in the given hand. Like I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone. A warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. You shaped yourself, fitting to the line. I hold a warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. Ooh, the cork is smooth, the stream is clear. I am here.
A heavy wood sitting on a cello neck, a rigid board saving us from heavy wreck. We pressed the string hoping for a steady tone. It caught the skin, leaving an uneven trace, a stubborn form acting in a quiet place. But passing songs softened up the rigid face, a steady hand walking in a quiet space. The timber yields taking on a human heat, a southern dies leaving just a quiet hold, a warm embrace keeping out the winter cold. I play the note, feeling how the surface warms, a quiet shield weathering awakened storms. The scraping stops, finding an expected groove, a trusted guard watching all the shadows move. The wood adapts, taking on a human heat, a smooth ebony fingerboard sitting on a steady frame. I pull you close, knowing that the edge is gone. A warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. We left the heart scraping in the early past, a fragrant bond built to make the comfort last. Fingerboard sitting on a steady frame, sitting on a steady to make the comfort last. We used to fight, finding where the pieces lock. A stubborn jam hitting on a solid rock, but steady hands polished up the rigid skin. A quiet vow, washing up the early pain. The timber shines, holding to a sweet perfume. I turn and slow, feeling how the pieces mesh. A woven barn resting on the living flesh. Feel the fingers slide, smell the quiet trace. Step into the warm, rest the weary face. The harsh resistance melted into something mild. The peaceful state letting us be reconciled. I realized that friction was a passing phase. Simple test hiding in the early days. Love requires softening the rugged grain to find the peace hiding in the falling rain. We let the years wear away the rigid shell and found a place where the quiet angels dwell. I hold the grip, knowing it will never stick. A tailored bond matching up without a trick. Smooth ebony fingerboard sitting on a steady slide. I pull you close, knowing that the edge is gone. A warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. We left the harsh scraping in the early past. A fragrant bond built to make the comfort last. The wood is soft, the tune is clear. We are safe.
Join. An iron joint resting on a heavy blade. A cutting tool working in a quiet shade. We squeeze the grip, hoping for a parting line. A steady hum following a part design. It drew the edge, clipping off a fading leaf. But hidden damp settled on a sliding hinge. A tragic stop launching a severe revenge. The metal jams wedging in the dusty bind. The cutting halts grind into a sudden freeze. A dying wind blowing through the winter trees. I try to squeeze, asking for a moving line. To feel the temp reckoning on shore design. The handles choke, freezing in a solid block. A broken door ticking on a silent clock. The metal jams tying up a heavy knot. A cold rejection bleeding on a single spot. Rusted garden shears, hinge catching on a broken gear. A tragic stop, raising up a silent fear. I strike the frame, looking at a heavy block. A physical reflection of a broken lock. You cannot trim branches when the joint is tied. I stare at the disaster where the hope is died. Rusted garden shears, hinge catching on a broken gear. A tragic stop, raising up a silent fear. I strike the frame, looking at a heavy block. A physical reflection of a broken lock. You cannot trim branches when the joint is tied. I stare at the disaster where the hope has died. We acted like moving was a given right. A steady stream pushing through the lonely night. But solid crust paralyzed a working gate. A tragic act halting at a bit of fate. The blade has stopped drowning in a rigid chill. A ruined slide hiding what we truly feel. I try to pull hope in for a working space. A bitter end hiding in a quiet place. Touch the black and I hear the metal hit. Fail to move the line, watch the logic quit. The tangle is a poison to a moving stream. A silent ghost curse on what is coming next. I realize that pushing on a broken frame is wasting all the logic of a waiting game. Love requires gliding with a smooth release to navigate the turning of a sudden peace. We jam the hinge, breaking an essential tie, and ruined all the function of a shared sky. I lift my cold fingers and I step away, accepting the disaster of a broken play. Rusted garden shears, hinge catching on a broken gear. Let it drown. Tragic stop, raising up a silent fear. Walk away. I strip the frame, looking at a heavy block. A physical reflection of a broken lock. You cannot trim branches when the joint is tied. I leave the dark silence where the hope has died. The joint is caught, the blade is blank. I am done.
a steel wire. A steel wire resting in a wooden chest, a tight control put into a heavy test. We hit the key looking for a ringing tone. It held the hum shaking in an unseen wave, but reckless force hit upon a solid block. A sudden break ticking on a silent clock. The metal snap splitting in a jagged line, a ruined chord crushing a secure design. I tried to play holding an uneven bass, a futile act begging for a giving grace. The silver curls freezing in a heavy hold, a dusty mess matching with the winter cold. The tension snaps drop into a frozen state, a silent end closing up an iron gate. I watch the steel curling in the bitter wind, a physical reflection of the lies we sinned. You cannot draw music from a broken chord. I stare at the disaster on the wooden floor. Snap, steel curling in the bitter wind, a physical reflection of the lies we sinned. You cannot draw music from a broken chord. I stare at the disaster on the wooden floor. We acted like ringing was a simple task, a last note hiding in a wooden mask. But master strain separates a brittle grain, the gear split letting all the magic flee. A useless stick floating on a silent sea. I try to strike asking for an echoing tone, a miserable failure sitting in the dark alone. Touch the jagged tear, hear the hollow sound. Fail to find the warmth, fail to find the ground. The fracture is a poison to an empty room, a tragic end leading to a quiet doom. I realize that forcing on a broken wood is asking for a magic God we never could. Love requires holding to a balanced wheel to magnify the volume of the things we feel. We struck the key, freezing in the bitter draft, and ruined all the motion in the careless craft. I drop my cold fingers and I step away, accepting the disaster of a broken place. Curling on the wooden frame, let it bend. Just watch the steel curling in the bitter wind, a physical reflection of the lies we sin. You cannot draw music from a broken chord. I leave the wire frozen on the wooden floor. The chord is bent, the sound is cold. I am done.
Oh, white ivory sitting on a wooden roll, a quiet key waiting for a gentle glow. We pressed it down, searching for a waking tone. It caught the skin, leaving an uneven sound, a stubborn form waiting on the solid ground. But passing days polished up the rigid face, a steady hand touching in a quiet space. The ivory heels taking on a human heat, the friction dies, leaving just a quiet light, a warm embrace holding on the dark inside. I play the note, feeling how the surface warms, a safe anchor weathering the quiet storms. The catching stops, turning to a gentle flow, a woven piece showing where the music goes. The ivory wears, finding a familiar grace. I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone, a warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. You shaped yourself, fit into the songs I hold, a warm embrace, shielding from Stubborn line waiting for a heavy fall, but steady touch polished up the solid shell. A quiet shift breaking up the isolation spell. The music flows traveling a private lane. I close my eyes feeling how the edges bend. The trusted guard staying with me to the end. Touch the solid key, let the rhythm play. Hide from all the rush, keep the cold away. The outer stone softens into something mild. A peaceful stay, letting us be reconciled. I realize that comfort is an earned art, a slow design working on a guarded heart. Love requires polish in a rugged face, to find the warmth hiding in a quiet place. We let the shape alter to a gentle fit, and found the peace hidden in the core of it. I need the touch flowing through the softened ring, a custom frequency making the silence ring. Knowing that the edge is gone, a warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. You shaped yourself fitting to the songs I hold, a warm embrace shielding from the winter cold. The key is smooth, the note is warm, we are safe. The key is more, we are safe.
Yeah. A wooden grip sitting on a heavy brass, a quiet seal resting in the summer grass. We pushed it down, locking up a given word, a stiff defense hiding like a silent bird. It bit the palm, leaving an uneven mark, a stubborn form waiting in the morning dark. But passing days softened up the heavy wood, a steady hand doing what the patience could. The surface bends, taking on a gentle curve, a safe embrace calming down an anxious nerve. The stiffness felt in a humid heat. I take the stand, feeling how the timber yields. A quiet guard resting in the open fields. The friction stops, leaving a familiar trace. A woven piece, finding an expected grace. The timber folds taking on a subtle bend, a steady guide, staying to the journey end. Molded wooden stem, handle resting in a given palm. I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone, a warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. You shaped yourself into the seal. I hold a warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. Molded wooden stem, handle. I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone, a warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. You shaped yourself into the seal. I hold warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. We used to ache, pushing on a rigid wall, a stubborn line waiting for a heavy fall. But steady touch polished up a solid shell, a quiet shift breaking up the isolation spell. The motion flows, traveling a private line. I close my eyes, feeling how the edges bend. Trusted guard staying with me to the end. Rub the solid wood, let the rhythm play. Hide from all the rush, keep the cold away. The outer fabric softens into something mild, a peaceful state letting us be reconciled. I realize that comfort is an earned art, a slow design working on a guarded heart. Love requires polishing a rugged face, to find the warmth hiding in a quiet place. We let the shape alter to a gentle fit, and found the peace hidden in the core of it. I need the touch flowing through the softened ring, a custom frequency making the silence sing. You shake yourself, fit into the sea. I hold a warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. The height is soft. The mark is clear. I am here.
A liquid clay resting on a broken rim. A quiet paste hiding in the shadows dim. We brushed it on, hoping for a binding seal. A firm defense, watching what the makers feel. It held the gap, offering a steady room. A bright response, saving us from rising doom. But passing days dried away the joining wet. A silent drought ruining a given bed. The water leaves freezing in a heavy crust. A solid block turning to a bit of dust. The holding stops, leaving an unfinished line. I try to press, holding an uneven piece. A futile act begging for a quick release. The clay divides slipping from a heavy hold. A dusty mess matching with the winter cold. The liquid dries, drop into a broken state. Silent and closing up an iron gate. Dry clay slip, feeling on the broken side. A tragic end ruining a steady guide. I watch the dust spilling in a sudden snap. A physical being sudden snap. Can I join pieces with a broken core? I stare at the disaster on the wooden place. Feeling on the broken side. A tragic end, ruining a steady guide. I watch the dust spilling in a sudden snap. A physical being a sudden snap. Can I join pieces with a broken core? I stare at the disaster on the wooden floor. Like binding was an endless hold. A lasting tune keeping out the winter cold. But silent cracks compromise an entire base. A sudden fall sitting in a quiet place. The lines divide, slipping from a twisted lock. A broken tool offering a blank attack. I try to join, open for a ring and tell. A bitter end written on a lifeless string. Touch the broken clay, hear the surface snap. Fail to find the grip, fail to find a guide. The tension left, leaving an empty space. I realize that resting on a fragile shell is wasting all the logic of the words we tell. Love requires holding to a solid tie to elevate the nature of a shared sky. We let the draft push past the limit line and ruined all the function of a shared design. I drop my cold fingers and I step away, accepting the disaster of a broken play. Dry clay, silent crack, walk away, walk away. Dry clay, killing on the broken side. I watch the dust spilling, steady guide, a physical, yeah. Can I join pieces with a broken core? I leave the slack hanging on an empty door. The slip is dry, the bond is dead. I am done.
a narrow glass resting in a wooden frame. We turned around, setting up a steady fall. It bore the weight carrying a heavy sand. But heavy hands pushed upon the fragile joint. A careless move, waking up a breaking point. The glass yields, bending to a sudden crack. A broken tool falling on the sliding track. I try to watch, holding an uneven dial, a useless task, adding to the massive trial. The timing fails, lacking essential guide. A hollow space, opening a vast divide. The glass snaps, leaving unsteady plane. A silent room, waiting for the sound in vain. Cracked hourglass neck, falling on the heavy board. I try to count moments, but the center slides. You cannot find rhythm when the glasses breaks. I stare at the disaster of the past mistakes. Cracked hourglass neck, falling on the heavy board. I try to count moments, but the center slides. You cannot find rhythm when the glasses breaks. I stare at the disaster of the past mistakes. We acted like timing was a constant given. A lasting force keeping all the errors hidden. But massive strain paralyzes every gear. A sudden break canceling a passing year. The clock is trapped sitting in a silent frame. It used to shape playing in a losing game. I try to force sand into a spinning groove. A miserable failure of a desperate move. Touch the broken glass, here to send escape. Fail to find the core. Watch the logic quit. The fracture is a poison to a spinning art. A tragic cancellation of a beating heart. I realize that leaning on a fragile pin is ruining the center, that the love is in love. Requires balance that is smooth and light to navigate the turning of a heavy night. It pushed the glass, breaking the vital tie, and ruined all the function of a shared sky. I lift my cold fingers and I step away, accepting the disaster of a broken play. Falling on a heavy board. Let it fall. I try to count moments, but the center slides. You cannot find rhythm when the glasses breaks. I leave the cold metal and the past mistakes. The glass is gone. The time is stopped. I am done.
A solid bone resting on a wooden rack. A quiet tool holding all the shadows back. We slid it in looking for a gentle wear. A stiff defense waiting in the morning air. It caught the heel, leaving an uneven trace. A stubborn form acting in a quiet place. But passing days rubbed away the rigid line. A steady hand softening a rough design. The surface seals taking on a human heat. A curve moving to a mellow beat. The friction dies, leaving just a quiet glide. I guide the chute, feeling how the handle warms. A safe anchor wet during the quiet storms. The catching stops, turning to a gentle flow. A woven piece, showing where the footsteps go. The bone adapts to finding a familiar grace. I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone. The warm quiet dawn. You shaped yourself, fit into the steps I hold. A warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone. I hold you close, a warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. You shaped yourself, fit into the steps I hold. A warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. We used to fight, finding where the leather binds. A stubborn block, testing out the closest minds. But steady hands polished up the rigid skin. A quiet shift, letting all the comfort in the marker shines. Holding to a sweet perfume, I take the turn, feeling how the pieces mesh. A woven bond resting on the living flesh. Feel the solid bones, smell the quiet trace. Step into the warm, rest the weary face. The harsh resistance melted into something mild, a peaceful state, letting us be reconciled. I realized that friction was a passing phase, a simple test hiding in the early days. Love requires softening the rigid hide to find the warmth resting on the dark inside. We let the years wear away the outer shell and found a place where the quiet angels dwell. I hold the grip knowing it will never stick, a gentle bond matching up without a trick. Keep it near. I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone. I hold you close, a warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. You shaped yourself, fitting to the steps I hold. A warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. The bone is smooth, the step is warm. We are safe.
A wooden knob resting on a heavy stick. We leaned on it looking for a steady rest. It stiffed the palm, leaving an uneven mark. A stubborn wood hiding in the morning dark. But passing mouth softened up the heavy grain. A steady hand washing out an early pain. The timber bends taking on a gentle curve. A safe embrace calming down an anxious nerve. The stiffness fades melting in a human heat. I take the weight feeling how the timber yields. A quiet guard resting in the open fields. The friction stops, leaving a familiar trace. A woven piece finding unexpected grace. The wood adapts, taking on a subtle bend. A steady guide, stay into the journey. And I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone. A warm surface, waiting for a quiet dawn. You shaped yourself, fit into the weight I hold. A warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. Smooth wooden cane, palm resting in a given hand. I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone. You shaped yourself, fit into the weight I hold. A warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. We used to ache pushing on a rigid wall. A stubborn line waiting for a heavy fall. A steady touch polished up the wooden shell. A quiet shift breaking up the isolation spell. The motion flows traveling a private line. I close my eyes feeling how the edges bend. A trusted guard staying with me to the end. Rub the solid wood, let the rhythm play. Hide from all the rush, keep the cold away. Outer timber softens into something mild. The peaceful state letting us be reconciled. I realize that comfort is an earned art. A slow design, working on a guarded heart. Love requires polishing a rugged face. To find the warmth hiding in a dark and cold. We let the shape alter to a gentle fit. And found the peace hidden in the core of it. I need the touch flowing through the softened ring. silence sing. Smooth wooden cane, I'm resting in the given hand. Keeping near, I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone. You shaped yourself, fit into the weight I hold. A warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. Soft, the path is clear. I am here.
Key sitting on a tin machine, the quiet tool acting in a faded scene. We turned around hoping for a moving gear. It held the coil packing in a heavy spring. A firm defense, waiting for the toy to sing. But hidden dam settled on the turning joint. A tragic move ruining the quiet point. The metal jams freezing in the heavy rust. The turning halts leaving an unfinished word. A silent drop acting like a missing bird. I try to twist holding an uneven dial. A futile act begging for a quick denial. The interest chokes freezing in a solid block. A broken hand ticking on a silent clock. The metal binds drop into a frozen state. A silent end closing up an iron gate. Rusted toy wind-up key catching on a broken gear. A tragic stop raising up a silent fear. I struck the frame looking at a heavy block. A physical reflection of a broken lock. You cannot start motion when the key is tied. I stare at the disaster where the hope is died. Toy wind-up key catching on a broken gear. A tragic stop raising up a silent fear. I struck the frame looking at a heavy block. A physical reflection of a broken lock. You cannot start motion when the key is tied. I stare at the disaster where the hope has died. We acted like turning was a given right. A steady stream pushing through the lonely night. But solid crust paralyzed a working gate. A tragic act halting at a bit of fate. The spring has stopped drowning in a rigid chill. A ruined slide hiding what we truly feel. I try to pull hoping for a working space. A bitter end hiding in a quiet place. Touch the rusted iron, hear the metal hit. Fail to move the line, watch the logic quit. The tangle is a poison to a moving stream. A silent ghost cursing what is coming next. I realize that pushing on a broken frame is wasting all the logic of a waiting game. Love requires turning with a smooth release to navigate the moving of a sudden peace. We jam the key, breaking an essential tie. Ruin all the function of a shared sky. I lift my cold fingers and I step away, accepting the disaster of a broken play. Rusted toy wind-up key, catching on a broken gear. Walk away, stop raising up a silent fear. I strike the frame, looking at a heavy block. A physical reflection of a broken lock. You cannot start motion when the key is tied. I leave the dark silence where the hope has died. The key is caught, the toy is dead. I am done. Glass dome standing in a metal base. A quiet shield warming up a lonely space. We lit the wick looking for a golden light. It cut the heat drawing out a yellow ray. A safe cover running on a quiet day. But bitter cold pushed upon the fragile joint. A careless breeze waking up a breaking point. The glass yield snapped into a sudden crack.
A broken tool falling on the sliding track. The wind slips in, bringing out a heavy breath. A sudden drop leading to a quiet death. I try to block, holding an uneven line. A futile act, reckoning unsure design. The flame blows out, freezing in a sudden block. A broken fire ticking on the silent clock. The glass device drop into a broken state. The silent end closing up an iron gate. Crack glass, land and glow, catching on the metal gear. A tragic stop, raising up a silent fear. I watch the light fading in the bitter wind. A physical reflection of the lies we sinned. You cannot save fires with a broken core. I stare at the disaster on the wooden floor. Catching on the metal gear, catching on the metal gear. Raising up a silent fear. I watch the light fading in the bitter wind. A physical reflection of the lies we sinned. You cannot save fires with a broken core. I stare at the disaster on the wooden floor. We acted like gloom was a given right. A steady stream pushing through the lonely night. But broken glass paralyzes an empty stage. A tragic act halting on a hollow page. The fire is stopped drowning in a rigid chill. I ruined all the glowing in a careless craft. I draw my cold fingers and I step away, accepting the disaster of a broken play. Crack glass, land and glow, catching on a metal gear. A tragic stop, raising up a silent fear. Walk away. I watch the light fading in the bitter wind. A physical reflection of the lies we sinned. You cannot save fires with a broken core. I leave the dark silence where the flame has died. The glass is broke. The light is gone. I am done.
Turned it round, pulling on a heavy thread. It caught the wool, leaving an uneven mark. But passing days rubbed away the rigid grain. A steady spin, washing out an early pain. The surface shines, taking on a human heat. The friction dies, leaving just a quiet glide. A warm embrace holding on the dark inside. I turn the wheel, feeling how the timber warms. A safe anchor weathering the quiet storms. The catching stops, turning to a gentle flow. A woven piece showing where the fibers go. The timber adapts, finding a familiar grace. A steady spin, taking up a quiet space. Smooth wooden spindle, resting in a given hand. I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone. A warm surface, waiting for a quiet dawn. You shaped yourself, fitting to the thread I hold. A warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. Spindle, resting in a given hand. pushing on a rigid wall. A stubborn line waiting for a heavy fall. But steady touch polished up the solid shell. A quiet shift breaking up the isolation spell. The motion flows traveling a private lane. I close my eyes feeling how the edges bend. A trusted guard staying with me to the end. Turn the solid wood, let the rhythm play. Hide from all the rush, keep the cold away. The outer edge softens into something mild. A peaceful state, letting us be reconciled. I realize that comfort is an earned art. A slow design working on a guarded heart. Love requires polishing a rugged face to find the warmth hiding in a quiet place. We let the shape alter to a gentle fit and found the peace hidden in the core of it. I need the touch flowing through the softened ring. A custom frequency making the silence sing. Smooth wooden spindle, resting in a given hand. I hold you close, knowing that the edge is gone. A warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. You shaped yourself, fitting to the thread I hold. A warm embrace, shielding from the winter cold. Smooth, the thread is warm, we are safe.
A rigid pouch sitting in a winter coat. We placed a stone looking for a safe escape. It felt unsure, slipping in a nervous hold. A stubborn skin sitting in the studio cold. But passing days molded up the outer glaze. A steady hold, walking through a gentle haze. The leather bends, taking on a human heat. The stiffness dies, leaving where the secrets go. I take the pouch, feeling how the fabric warms. A quiet shield, weathering the waking storms. The friction stops, finding an expected groove. A trusted guard, watching all the shadows move. The leather adapts, taking on a human heat. A stuffed suede pouch sitting in a steady hold. A quiet shield keeping out the winter cold. I pull you close, knowing that the edge is gone. A warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. We left the harsh scraping in the early past. A fragrant bond built to make the comfort last. vessel shines, holding to a sweet perfume. I turn it slow, feeling how the melted into something mild, a peaceful state, letting us be reconciled. I realized that friction was a passing phase, a simple test hiding in the early days. Love requires softening the rugged grain to find the peace hiding in the falling rain. We let the years wear away the rigid shell and found a place where the quiet angels dwell. I hold the grip knowing it will never stick, a tailored bond matching up without a trick. Soft and suede pouch sitting in a steady hole. Let it slide, keeping out the winter cold. Press it down, I'll pull you close, knowing that the edge is gone. A warm surface waiting for a quiet dawn. We left the harsh scraping in the early past, a fragrant bond built to make the comfort last. The pouch is soft, the stone is safe. I am here.
A big tile sitting on a sloping roof, a quiet guard offering a solid proof. We set it high, looking for a gentle rest, a firm defense passing an expected test. It held the sky, offering a quiet room, a bright response saving us from rising doom. But heavy snow brought a sudden jagged crack, a tragic move falling on a rigid track. The surface splits, breaking in a hidden line, a ruined tile crushing the secure design. The shelter dies, leaving an uneven hum, a silent drop acting like a broken drum. I watch the rain falling on a wooden floor, a futile act begging for a closing door. The clay divides, slipping from a heavy hold, a dusty mess matching with the winter cold. The ceramic divides drop into a broken state, a silent end closing up an iron gate. Cracked clay roof tile failing on the house outside, a tragic end ruining a steady guide. I watch the rain falling in a sudden snap, a physical reflection of an empty trap. You cannot hold comfort with a broken core. I stare at the disaster on the wooden floor. Crack clay roof tile failing on the house outside, a tragic end ruining a steady guide. I watch the rain falling in a sudden snap, a physical reflection of an empty trap. You cannot hold comfort with a broken core. I stare at the disaster on the wooden floor. We acted like resting was an endless hold, a lasting tune keeping out the winter cold. But silent cracks compromise an entire base, a sudden fall sitting in a quiet place. The lines divide, slipping from a twisted lock, a broken tool offering a blank attack. I try to patch, hoping for a ringing tale, a bitter end written on a life attention left, leaving an empty space, a tragic void sitting in a quiet place. I realize lasting on a fragile shell is wasting all the logic of the words we tell. Love requires holding to a solid tie to elevate the nature of a shared sky. We let the snow push past the limit line and ruined all the function of a shared design. I drop my cold fingers and I step away, accepting the disaster of a broken play. Crackly roof tile failing on the house house. Let it crack, a tragic end ruining a steady guy. Walk away, falling in a sudden snap, a physical reflection of an empty trap. You cannot hold comfort with a broken core. I leave the slack hanging on an empty dawn. The tile is cracked, the floor is wet, I am done.
An iron hinge sitting on a metal box, a quiet door waiting by the heavy locks. We pulled it down looking for a written page, a bound defense taking up a quiet stage. It held the mail offering a quiet room, a firm response saving us from rising gloom. But changing moons brought a heavy biting rain, a brutal dam following bitter strain. The metal binds curling from a darkened space, a failing guard sitting in a quiet place. The cover sticks dropping to an unseen floor, a broken seal waiting by a rusted door. The iron gives failing as a steady cover, a silent break falling on a sleeping lover. Rusted mailbox hinge curling on a broken line, a failing door ruining a calm design. I feel the lock dropping from an open space. You cannot read letters through a bending wood. I leave the post failing as I knew I should. Rusted mailbox hinge curling on a broken line, a failing door ruining a calm design. I feel the lock dropping from an open space. You cannot read letters through a bending wood. I leave the post failing as I knew I should. We acted like opening was a given right, a lasting force keeping out the winter night. But heavy rust separates a bonded grain, a sudden stop bringing in a silent rain. The door is stuck, letting all the letters fall, a useless block floating on a broken wall. I try to pull, asking for a holding seal, a miserable failure of the things I feel. Touch the curling rust, hear the metal scream. Fail to find the warmth, fail to find the dream. The weather is a poison to a failing moon, a tragic end leading to a quiet doom. I realize that resting on a bending string is asking for a shelter from a closing ring. Love requires holding to an airtight seal to magnify the comfort of the things we feel. We left the door rusting in a bitter after draft and ruined all the story in a careless craft. I drop my cold fingers and I step away, accepting the disaster of a broken